My name's Claire, as you both know, and I'm the marketing specialist over here at Norb. Um, and yeah, I'm the host of this conference, so just super excited to have you both here today. Norb decided to host this conference for all of June and really just wanted to bring together this community. A lot of times people don't know the community of this migraine community and how many great people there are to be able to talk to, and sometimes it feels isolating, but this is just a way to really bring people together and to talk about all the topics and the information that we can share with each other and the different tools we have to use. So if you both want to give a brief introduction, I think that would be a great way to start.
Sure. I can go first. So I'm Dr. Rani Banik, and my full name is Rudrani Banik. I'm a board-certified ophthalmologist and neuro-ophthalmologist, and I'm also certified in integrative and functional medicine. So I take care of a lot of migraine patients. I would say about 50% of my practice, my patients in my practice have some form of migraine or headache disorder or facial pain disorder. And many of them do come in initially with a lot of visual symptoms of migraine. So that's really what I specialize in. And I also am a migraine sufferer myself. So I have gone through a lot of the symptoms that and challenges that my patients have gone through. So I kind of love to share my experiences and try to give them tips on ways that they can manage their symptoms as well.
And I'm Kylie, the Associate Program Director at the Association of Migraine Disorders. I'm a registered nurse. I also live with migraine, and I am in the Master of Headache Disorders program at the University of Copenhagen. So I'm currently in Copenhagen right now. We're doing an in-person week, so yeah, it's great. So thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for being here, you two. And I am Claire with Norb Wellness Lighting. And Norb has been hosting this conference with a bunch of great brands and advocates, speakers, educators, doctors, and just have really enjoyed getting together with you guys and hearing more about what you have to say. And so Norb, for those of you who don't know much about it, we're a wellness lighting company, and we like to say that people spend 93% of their lives indoors, and that's a crazy number of time spent indoors, and a lot of it is under this unhealthy lighting, and that can be a huge trigger for migraine. So our CEO kind of started out by a little bit of an intro about Norb, is that our CEO started out making lighting for plants, and he's a horticulturist and a biologist. And so he made some amazing grow lights through different research. And then that's when he realized, like, oh, humans need good lighting. I'm sitting inside in my office all the time under these LED lights, and I'm not feeling great. I'm not feeling energized. And that's when he decided that he was going to make Norb, which stands for Nutri-Orb, so nutritional orb. And it's basically just lighting that mimics nature. So if you take a spectrum from nature, that is all the spectrums of Norb light bulbs. So we have a smile light that's great for sleep and helps produce natural melatonin. We have a smile light for daytime, which mimics the daytime sun. We have a focus light and a beauty light, and a Norb smart light that connects to an app where you can kind of change through all those different best-selling spectra. And then we have Norb Relief, which is our migraine product, and it's a pure green light. So I just wanted to show you guys a few of these products right here, and then turn on Norb Relief just so that we can have that green light, that soothing light on.
Wow.
And yeah, so there's that light. And we usually say that you want to turn off your background lights as well. So I'm just going to sit in the green light to help with my light sensitivity during this time. So during this conference, we also have a giveaway going on, which is super exciting. And all of our 8 guest speakers donated products. So we have 16 giveaway products, and it's a $400 value. So we're so thankful for everyone for pitching in some products, and whoever wins is going to get a great prize. But you can also check out all the toolkits online at norblighting.com. migraine disorders, and that's linked in our bio and also in the Instagram stories. I've been linking it, and I'm sure a lot of our advocates have been linking it as well. And so just go check out the products. And I know you both donated a great product if you'd like to talk about that.
Sure. So yeah, we donated our signature purple shades for migraine sunglasses. And we also donated a towel. So it's a Shades for Migraine beach towel. It's purple. It's very nice. And then we have an informational brochure too.
Yeah, so and I donated a product which is in my new supplement line. It's called Calm. It's formulated for migraine. And so, I researched what are the scientifically based ingredients that can go inside a migraine supplement, and I put them all together in one product. So it has magnesium malate, it has riboflavin, feverfew, and curcumin as well. So it's what I think is a great way to support healthy blood vessels in the brain, but also decrease the inflammatory response.
So yeah, these are just two of the great products. All of the products in the way. There's also consultations with our Harvard doctor. There's a month of vestibular group fit, which is a great way to talk about migraine. Some different wellness products to add to your toolkit, some rollers for your head. And then Norb is donating the Norb Relief Light, which I have on here in the background. A soothing light for migraine, and then Norb Smart, which has Norb Relief Leaf in it. And it also has all our other spectra, which really help optimize your circadian rhythm. It has smile and sleep, and you can actually set it to change throughout the day, which is really great. So you can have your smile light on during the day while you're working in whatever space you're in, and then it will change to the sleep light. And then if you're feeling like you need the green light, you can turn that on. So that's all controlled through your phone with the Norb Smart light. So here's the Norb Smart and the Norb Relief, two of my favorite products. And I will post a link to the giveaway here as well. I see some people are asking, how do you enter, and asking about the giveaway. So it's in our bio, but it's norblighting.com. And you can check out all the products and definitely enter the giveaway. All you have to do is sign your name and put your email in there, and it's really easy. So yeah, I'd like to start by talking about migraine. And I think that a very powerful statistic to start this off is, for those of you who don't know, migraine impacts 1 in 7 people worldwide. So that is a huge number of people. And the majority of those people are women, due to hormones and how that affects our body. Our body's always changing, and the brain chemicals. So that is why a lot of women suffer from migraine. And you guys might know more about why it's predominantly women as well. So feel free to jump in at any time with any kind of information you have. And 80% of those people who suffer from migraines have photophobia. And so that's an intolerance or sensitivity to light, which hopefully Dr. Ronnie will touch on, because I know she knows a lot about photophobia and the sensitivity to light. But that's the main trigger of migraine. So that leaves a lot of people unable to work or function like normal. And a lot of times you have to spend your life in the dark, which is, you don't want to be in the dark. So that's where Norb Relief comes in. You can turn this light on, and it actually helps with the pain and even the occurrence of migraines. And a lot of people use it before, during, or after migraines, and they've seen lots of great results from it. So you might be wondering about green light therapy. You might have about it before, but this is Norb Relief, and it's different than your typical green light because it's a narrow band. It's patent pending. So it's a very specific green light spectrum, and it's pure green. The only color being emitted from this is green. So it's flicker free as well. It can dim it, and a lot of people have said this is the only light that they can tolerate when they're having a migraine attack. And the way it really works is that it makes natural pain relievers in the body. So it can actually help with more than just migraine. It can help with a lot of symptoms too. It can help with nausea and anxiety, insomnia. It basically like calms and soothes the brain through the eyes. And that's why a lot of people who are sensitive to light will use this, because it can help you feel calm and relaxed when you don't sleep. It can even help with pain of fibromyalgia and neuropathy as well. And the science behind it is very interesting, because we had a lot of questions. Some people asked before, how does green light work and how was it discovered? So the idea behind the green light was actually discovered by Dr. Ron Bernstein, PhD specialist from Harvard. And he was actually researching light as a trigger of migraines in blind people. And so these people, they couldn't even see the colors, what color was truly happening in this study. And green by far was the light that ended up being less of a trigger for them than any other color, than red, than white, than all these other colors lights. So then he repeated the study in non-visually impaired people, and that's when he really came up with a lot of these findings, that most migraine sufferers do suffer from photophobia or light sensitivity, and that narrow green bands of light are less likely to trigger a migraine, and even less likely to have more occurrences of migraine. Like, a lot of people use this and have noticed less occurrence of migraine. So typically, migraine sufferers, they seek the dark, and a lot of people can't have any light on. But I really push you to try this, because it's an inexpensive way. It's non-invasive. It's natural. I mean, your body's producing more pain relievers. And it's just a therapy that can be used alongside of anything else you're using. You can put it in any lamp. I like to put it in a shade, and you don't look at it. You just have it on in the background. And we've had a lot of people say that their families actually love it. A lot of people who use it in their bedrooms, their animals will come in, and their cats and dogs will come sit under it, because they think it's like so soothing. And some people actually even put it in their overhead lights too. So people who get chronic migraine, they get, upwards of 15 to 20 migraines a month. And that is just something that really can harm your life, and you don't want to sit in the dark. So a lot of people will put this all over their house and have it ready to turn on so they can still see and have the light there. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions about green light therapy, I urge you to ask them now, and I'm happy to answer any questions. And we can also answer any at the end as well. But also, another really interesting thing that we've done with the green light, Norb conducted a 4-week study with the green light with 4 migraine sufferers, and they actually used the Norb relief light every day for 4 weeks. And there were some amazing findings on this study, which you can find on our website as well. People use it anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour a day, and they noticed less migraines, the occurrence of migraines. They noticed less pain while it was happening. They were able to function, and just really cool to see how these people used it and how it affected their lives. So definitely feel free to go check that out. See how other people are using it. A lot of people like it during the morning when they wake up, because it's a good way to kind of introduce your eyes and your body to the light, and get more used to the light. And then a lot of people like it at night as well, because it can actually help with sleep, because it doesn't have that blue light that can make your body feel awake and that your phone is emitting, and the blue light that's bad for your sleep. So this actually helps with that as well. But I would love to hear, Dr. Ronnie, from you, or Kylie, if you guys have anything to say about any of those statistics, or about photophobia and light sensitivity.
Sure. I can add a couple of comments. So photophobia technically it means fear of light, which is, just an aversion to light. And it could be any wavelength of light. And as you mentioned earlier, 80% of people who develop a migraine attack have photophobia at the onset of their symptoms. And even between attacks. Many people with migraine have chronic light sensitivity. So I think this is where something like Norb can be so, so effective, because especially if you suffer from that chronic light sensitivity in between migraine attacks, if you have it available to you, it can really help to soothe and decrease your sensitivity to light, but also decrease those chemicals in the brain that may be perpetuating migraine. Now I have a lot of patients who come in with such severe light sensitivity where they cannot go outdoors, or even indoors, they're wearing super, super dark sunglasses. Mm-hmm. And what I tell them is, you don't want to completely dark adapt your eyes. So, you know, some people think the darker the sunglasses, the better, you know, to get a shade of dark, you know, like black or really dark gray or dark brown. That's actually probably not the best thing to do, because when you really dark adapt your eyes, when you take them off, your eyes are going to be even more sensitive to normal wavelengths of light. So I would recommend, if you're, you know, looking for a pair of sunglasses or migraine glasses, if that's what you're shopping for, try to look for a pair that will block out not all wavelengths, but certain wavelengths. And so Claire was talking earlier about those blue wavelengths that can oftentimes trigger migraine. So there are different cells in the retina. These are called photoreceptor cells that pick up different wavelengths of light. And there's specialized cells called intrinsically sensitive retinal ganglion cells that are tuned into specific wavelengths of blue light. And that's why sunlight is a big trigger. That's why your screen may be a big trigger, because those are the wavelengths that are emitted by these light sources, or even some of the bulbs that we oftentimes now use, like CFL bulbs or LED bulbs. They emit a lot of blue light in this spectrum that can trigger the light sensitivity based off of the wavelengths of light in the photoreceptor spectrum that are tuned into that. So anyway, if you're looking for migraine glasses, look for glasses that will block out those wavelengths of blue light. And then there's more interesting research that Claire was alluding to that shows that also red wavelengths are triggering for many migraine patients, and amber wavelengths as well. So green is that a narrow band of green is what's the only wavelength that's really been shown to help to calm the pain of migraine and light sensitivity. So look for tints of sunglasses, and I'm not going to mention any brand names here, but there are specific tints out there that are made to filter out those triggering wavelengths, but let in those helpful green wavelengths. So if you can, you know, combine the glasses with perhaps Norb lighting, that would be an ideal solution for in the home. And again, don't try to completely block out all light. You know, some people have blackout shades in every room. That's probably not the best idea, because it's going to really impair your ability to tolerate normal sunlight or other wavelengths of light.
Yeah, and personally, I had a lot of light sensitivity when I was in a really, really bad state for most of the year, and I felt like the blue light was very triggering to me. So there are certain companies that make blue blockers for your phone and for your computer. So I have it on both of mine, and you can't even tell that it's any different. It looks like anybody else's computer, but I definitely think having a green light for that in between, like that, is such a great idea.
Yeah, and I think thanks for bringing up the phone, because I know that that's a big trigger for many people. And what we all need to realize is that if we're looking at a screen, the screen in most cases is flickering. It's flickering at a very, very, very high rate. And our eyes may not be able to perceive that high flickering rate, but our brain can perceive it. And that can also trigger migraine. And screens flicker because they're designed that way to save battery life. So you can adjust the settings on your screen so that you can eliminate the flickering, or you can use one of the apps that are out there that can internally remove the flickering of light from your screens. You can put the app on your phone, on your tablet, on a computer. The only screen you can't put it on is a television screen, but any other type of monitor, you can put the app on there and it will automatically take out that flickering, which is, you can really tell the difference, like when the screen is flickering versus when it's not flickering. And so, it really is so calming for people who are chronically light sensitive.
Is that different than putting it on dark mode?
Yes, it is different. So most phones do have like a night shift mode on Apple devices, or I think night mode is probably the Android equivalent. So that, yes, that reduces blue light after a certain time in the day. So those internal kind of filters are tuned into where you are geographically. So the phone knows, okay, when is the sun rising? When is the sun setting? And then the light emitted is adjusted to that, which is great. That's a great tool that we should all be using on our devices, also to help with sleep. But also there's an app, and I'll say the name because I think it's so helpful. I think it's worth it for everybody to at least try it out. I think there's like a 14-day free trial period, and then you can purchase it for a nominal fee, but it's called Iris. um, iristech.co is the full name of it. You can download it to your device, and it has different settings. So you can use healthy setting, sleep setting, all kinds of different setting, gamer setting or movie setting. Try out the different settings. I think it has like 27 different settings. Try them out to see what works best for you. Experiment with it. And then you can, if you enjoy it, you can purchase it at, again, for a nominal fee. You can get like a lifetime access to the app. But I highly, highly, highly recommend it because it takes out the flicker rate, plus it adjusts the blue light to where you are. So it'll mimic the sun's normal rising and setting times.
That's a lot of great information. And yeah, with the screens, I mean, I work off of the screen most of the day in marketing and social media. I'm looking at my phone, I'm looking at my computer, and something that's really helpful that I learned is every 20 minutes to actually look away from your screen and look at something farther off in the distance to kind of reset that. And that's a big help for me. I like to stand up and just ground and look away from the screen, or else I notice I get a lot of migraine from my neck tension, just from like not moving and being in this certain position with your arms up typing. And sometimes I even walk away and I get auras from staring at the screen, you know, the little dots come up in my eyes. And so I've tried to find ways to help with that as well.
Yeah, we, as ophthalmologists, we always talk about the 20-20-20 rule, which is every 20 minutes, take a 20-second break by looking at something 20 feet away. So you can do that. And like Claire mentioned, you can get up, move, walk around a little bit. The other thing you can do is you can do a little bit of meditative breathing during those 20 seconds. Instead of looking at an object 20 feet away, you can simply just kind of put your palms over your eyes to eliminate any light exposure, any light stimulus, and do some deep breaths. I like to do box breathing when I'm doing this for 20 seconds. So it's a really great way to kind of reset your eyes when you're working on a screen for hours at a time, which most of us oftentimes do.
Yeah. Then speaking on blue light as well, I think that's another great tie-in for Norb because we have specific lights to help with sleep. And so we actually have our sleep light, and that's a low blue light. So before bed, you should use this one and put it in your lamp. And then the Norb Smart also has the ability to have that Norb sleep spectrum, and that mimics that found in the setting sun. So it's really like a dusk time kind of mimicking of nature, and it helps produce natural melatonin. And then also just an important reminder to not be on your phone like the 30 minutes or hour before bed, to try to take that break and get away from your phone and get away from screens, really let your brain and your eyes relax, and maybe read a book or talk to your loved ones. But try to do anything to stay off that screen because sleep is also a huge important factor of migraine, and getting proper sleep is so important.
Yeah. Sometimes we even tell our patients try to stay off devices 2 hours before bedtime. I know it's really hard. Like, I don't think I could do it to
Yeah.
stay off 2 hours before bedtime. But yeah, the longer you're on screens closer to bedtime, the more your melatonin is suppressed, and it becomes an issue for healthy sleep. So.
Yeah, it's definitely easier said than done because how many people look at their screen right before bed, check their text messages right when you wake up. But I really try to put it away before bed. Even when I wake up, I try to give my time before looking at the screen and being on it all day, every day. It can be a scary thing, checking your phone analytics and turning on some of those app controls can
Yeah.
help too.
And actually, just to add something about the supplement that that I have in the giveaway, there's an ingredient in here called Glutamax 2020, And this is a combination of the macular carotenoids, which are lutein and zeaxanthin and mesozeaxanthin. These are pigments that are found in the retina, and they help absorb blue light and neutralize blue light. So there's actually studies done using these ingredients to show that it helps with sleep, even in children. It helps with, the quality of sleep, and also it also helps with light sensitivity. So there's other ways, there's great ways to modulate light using Norb or using the migraine glasses, using the app, but also think about nutrition and perhaps supplementation as well.
Yeah, for sure. Dr. Ronnie, we have a question up here, and it said, if we use it frequently, speaking about the Norb relief light or green light therapy, does it make us more sensitive to other spectrums of light? And I think that's a great question that I'd like to defer to you.
Yeah. I don't know if there's any research on that, after using the light, are people, is their overall threshold better? Does it make them super sensitive? But what I would say is, if you're suffering from a really bad attack or a bad couple of days, use it until you feel more at ease, but then try to wean off of it so you're not using it all the time when you're indoors. So, use it as you need it, but don't become completely reliant on it. Just like the glasses, the sunglasses or migraine glasses, you don't want to become 100% reliant on it, because you want your eyes to also be exposed to natural wavelengths of light and be comfortable in natural wavelengths of light.
Yeah, I think that we've had a lot of people who use this every day, and they say it helps their eyes kind of adjust to being used to light more than the opposite, than being more sensitive to other types of light. It's actually kind of helped their eyes get adjusted to light, especially during the mornings and nights, to help with that intense rude awakening that the morning the LED lights around our house can bring us.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to turn it over to Kylie here, and would love her to talk about Association of Migraine Disorders that she's a part of.
Yeah, so our mission is to expand the understanding of migraine by supporting research, education, and awareness. So we started a Shades for Migraine campaign 2017, and the goal is to raise awareness about migraine and get rid of some of the stigma surrounding it. So stigma is when a person experiences severe disapproval or rejection because of a particular trait, characteristic, or in this case, disease, which would be migraine, that makes them different from the norm. So about 1 in 3 people with migraine experience stigma, and it can be by somebody saying migraine is synonymous with the headache, or it's all in your head, or you're going to the ER because you're drug seeking, or you may not look like you have migraine, which I don't know what that really means, since 1 billion people live with migraine. But it can also occur internally, like you may blame yourself for an attack, that you had chocolate the night before, or wine, or I was blaming myself on Tuesday because I had an attack at school, and I was like, I should have gotten more sleep last night. And we have to know that it's not our fault that we live with this disease, but it can also occur from family maybe not being as supportive, or believing that one of the ways to combat stigma is to change the language that we say. So many people say migraines, and I think it's really an old term. The Coalition for Migraine and Headache Patients, they're a great organization, and they set out a language guide. So instead of saying, I get migraines, the new approach is to say, I have a migraine attack, or I live with migraine disease. Because if you have migraine, you always have migraine. But when you're actually in that state, you're having an attack. So I think this is very important, and commonly compared to asthma, because people say, I don't have asthmas. I live with asthma, but I'm having an asthma attack when it's actually in a flare. So that's something that we've dramatically changed at the organization. We do not use the word migraines or migraine-aura. It's always a person living with migraine or that they're having the actual attack, because language can greatly impact how people are perceived and how they're treated. And I think how we talk about this disease is so important. So this is one of the ways that we can combat stigma, but also just raising awareness for it, which is why we created the campaign. So on June 21st, we have about almost a week. We'll ask people to take a picture with sunglasses on, post to social media, and use the hashtag Shades for Migraine and challenge others. So the sunglasses, as you were saying, is a symbol of the light sensitivity that so many people experience. And we hope that people can take part and raise awareness and get rid of some of the stigma.
Let's see the sunglasses on you.
Okay. So these sunglasses don't actually block the light. They have certain companies. These are just like the symbol of migraine awareness, but they're purple because purple is the color of migraine awareness. And then we have our shadesformigraine.org right here. We're on social media. You can just do @shadesformigraine, and then make sure you use the hashtag on June 21st.
I will be hashtag and putting pictures, so hopefully we get a lot of you guys with your glasses on as well.
Yes, definitely. We were in 40 countries last year, so we're hoping to do even more this year. And hopefully we can just keep raising awareness all over the world.
That's so great. Maybe you can put the date in here as a comment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Remember that.
Yeah.
And then Dr. Ronnie as well, and I would just love you to talk a little bit about your practice. And you were saying 50% of your patients come in with migraine. I know you specialize in migraine. So I'm sure you'll have a lot of great information for everyone here.
Yeah, so as a neuro-ophthalmologist, I take care of a wide range of neurologic conditions, and migraine is, again, probably the most common in my patient population. Many people come in when they've had their first migraine attack with aura, when they first see those flashing lights, and it's so frightening, you don't know what's happening. Many people think they're having a stroke, and so they come to get checked, and it ultimately ends up being a migraine attack. So there's a lot of education that goes along with that about what is going on with migraine, what is going on at a physiologic level, and then also to dive into, I dive into patients, what could your triggers be? Let's try to identify what your triggers could be and what we can do to prevent future attacks. But aside from the aura, visual aura of migraine and the light sensitivity of migraine, there are other symptoms as well that can happen with migraine. I lumped a lot of them into the category of visual disturbances, where people see they can see other types of flashing lights. They can see waves in their vision, where things, kind of how, like, if you're looking at like heat coming off the pavement, sometimes how things kind of look wavy. Sometimes people see that as part of their daily lives, where this is kind of a disturbance and they don't really know where it's coming from, but really in reality it's a form of migraine that they're experiencing. So that's one type of symptom. Rarely people can have vision loss from migraine, which really needs to be evaluated, where people can have decreased vision in one eye temporarily or even permanently. So that definitely needs a full workup. Sometimes people have double vision related to migraine, which is pretty rare, but it can happen, where people see two either side by side or one on top of each other. Again, it can be sometimes temporary, it could be permanent. And then there's another condition which is seen in migraine patients, but also can happen outside of migraine, which is visual snow syndrome, or VSS. And I think we're just learning more and more about this syndrome. But this is something else that can cause a lot of visual types of symptoms, graininess, like a grainy overlay over vision where there's almost like a TV static overlay where it's kind of gray and white shimmering dots, millions of them. And sometimes people can have floaters, trailing images, persistent images after images, and neurologic symptoms as well. Again, that visual snow syndrome can happen with migraine, but it can also happen without migraine. So there's a number of different visual issues that can come about with migraine. And I would suggest, if you've experienced any of the things I've described, just go see, preferably, if you can get in to see a neuro-ophthalmologist, see a neuro-ophthalmologist so they can do all the testing to make sure it's migraine and not something else that's more serious. I think that's the first order of business. And then you can talk about ways that you may want, that you can work with your doctor to try to alleviate some of those issues or maybe even prevent some of those issues from happening.
So we had someone comment in here that they wish there was more migraine specialists and they had a hard time in Virginia finding a specialist. I'm curious, are there a lot of migraine doctors who do virtual visits that you know of? Or what have you seen in the industry?
I don't know about Virginia specifically, but there are some organizations that have a Find Your Specialist. So you can look and see who's qualified in your state. There's also the National Headache Foundation has the AQA, which is added qualification of headaches. So if they're a nurse practitioner, physician assistant, they're also certified. But it varies state to state. It's very hard to get in to see a headache specialist, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I do know of some headache specialists who have gotten licensed in multiple states. So some of my colleagues in New York have licenses in other states, so they can do telemedicine consults. So just kind of explore some of the major websites and find a provider that may be in your area or may have a license to practice in your area. But you're absolutely right, Claire, there is a shortage of migraine specialists, headache specialists across the country and across the world. But there are other providers who may not have been formally trained in migraine who are also able to help with migraine. So even if it's not, let's say there's a 3-month wait to get in to see your local migraine specialist, at least try to work with your primary care doctor, or maybe a nurse practitioner, someone to help you at least try to alleviate some of your symptoms before you can get in to see the specialist.
And there are 2 different virtual clinics online now too. So I know that there's a lot more awareness around them.
Yeah, I feel like the awareness of migraine and migraine stigma and people even believing migraine is a real disorder has just become more and more prevalent these days. And it's great to see this large community we can find on social media. I've been just connected with so many people who are so knowledgeable on the topic, and also people who suffer from chronic migraine and different disorders that have to deal with migraine and headaches. And you can just look around a lot on social media too and find a lot of great doctors to talk to, that, and a lot of people who aren't doctors but have a lot of great tips and products that they're posting about and ways to help with migraine. And everyone on this conference, which you can check out online on our website, who's involved, it has great knowledge too. So do we have any other questions from anyone? We wanted to do a little Q&A. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments. We'd love to answer any questions on green light therapy, on visuals, on light sensitivity, anything you guys may have. I know I had a question beforehand that said, if I am not diagnosed yet with migraine, but think I have migraine, what should my first steps be? I think that's a great question for maybe Dr. Rani to answer, if you have anything for that.
Sure, there are specific criteria for the diagnosis of migraine. So you may think that you have migraine based off of the symptoms, but definitely try to seek out a formal diagnosis. because sometimes there are other types of headache syndromes that may mimic migraine, but it's not really migraine. So the symptoms are, they're all online, the criteria, but definitely seek out a provider to confirm that, because if you do have migraine, there are many different ways to manage it. Some are lifestyle changes, modification, nutrition, supplements, but also medications are quite effective. And depending on the type of symptoms that you have, you may be a great candidate for a particular medication. So it's really important to get that formal diagnosis to know whether a medication or particular regimen may be best for you.
And I think too, you can always start with your primary care doctor or maybe a gynecologist. Just because you have migraine doesn't mean you need a headache specialist. So I think you can still go to your primary, maybe a neurologist if needed, but a headache specialist isn't always necessary to manage every case of migraine.
Yeah, and I also want to add one thing. So migraine can affect anyone. Not just, we typically think of adults with migraine, but migraine can affect children, especially, above the age of 6 into teenage years. Even infants can get migraine. So if you, are a parent and you're worried, my child, I think that they're having migraine, talk to your pediatrician about it, because they can be a great resource. And a lot of pediatricians are, well equipped to manage migraines. So definitely bring it up.
And we have another question from AM Zano. Chronic migraine without aura. Should I be seeing a neuro-ophthalmologist rather than a standard ophthalmologist? My neurologist referred me to an office with both.
Without aura, I think you can probably see a regular ophthalmologist, and then if they feel like it's necessary, then they will refer you to a neuro-ophthalmologist. Similar to headache specialists, there aren't that many of us. I think in the US, there's probably like 250 to 300 across the country, so that there are not that many. Most of us are at academic centers. Some of us are in group practices or private practices. So it's probably much easier to get an appointment with a general ophthalmologist first. And then if necessary, then you'll get a referral to a neuro-ophthalmologist.
And I think a great for us to all talk about here as well is just some of our favorite products in our toolkits that we find really help us. It doesn't have to be Norb Relief or Green Light. Obviously, that's one of my favorites, but any other things that you guys would recommend, Dr. Ronnie or Kylie, I'd love to hear about, and I'm sure everyone else would as well.
Kylie, do you want to go first?
Sure. So I've tried some of the devices. I obviously can't be super specific, but I think the neuromodulation devices are great to try, especially if I think it's a great addition to kind of whatever else you have in your toolkit, in addition to medication and lifestyle changes. Certain ones have helped me, other ones have not done anything for me. So it's a lot of trial and error. But I think just working with your doctor and finding whatever works best for you. I've tried many, many different medications. I was very reluctant to try preventive medication, like many people are. But I have to say, once I started it, I should have started it earlier. And I think that's something that a lot of people are afraid to do. But I think maybe in the future, I will try to help more people start the preventative medication early so you don't go from episodic to chronic.
Yeah, in terms of products, as Kylie was mentioning, there is some trial and error to see what works best for you. So whether it's the migraine glasses, different lights, neuromodulatory devices, supplements, try them. And I would say try it for 3 months and see if it's working for you. And after 3 months, if you really feel like it's not helping, then move on, stop that and then move on to the next thing. I also do recommend that most patients make their own migraine emergency toolkit and just have it ready. And maybe if you're traveling, take it with you and put in there the products that you find to really help you. So it could include, for example, your rescue medication, your migraine glasses, It could include a cool compress for your neck maybe, or for like an eye compress. That can really be helpful. Also, in my emergency migraine toolkit, I also have essential oils in there. I really found that to be really helpful. There's also now published literature on the benefits of essential oils. So my personal favorites are lavender, peppermint, and frankincense. But again, you have to kind of try different ones and see what works best for you. You can do inhaled aromatherapy, or you can do like a roller ball. You can keep that in your toolkit, and then you'll have it, you know, when you need it. So
Yeah, I know by my desk I have BioFreeze. It's pretty cheap on Amazon, but it kind of just like cools and soothes your temples or your neck. I like to use the self massager to kind of help my neck because a lot of mine comes from neck stiffness. And I also sit under my relief light with just the green light on oftentimes. And I even know people who travel with it and they will bring it on vacation with them and put it in their lamps. They have the space to go on vacation. A lot of times when you're traveling, you're outside of your comfort zone, outside of your normal spaces. So it's definitely helpful to bring some of those things with you. And then we have, I mean, in our giveaway, we have a lot of great products you guys can check out as well. There's obviously the Shades for Migraines donation and the Calm Migraine supplement from Dr. Ronnie. She has a line of different supplements and vitamins. We have some products from Mig Relief, some rollers in there, some different balms and sprays. And then we also have the Headache Hat, which helps. It's like a cooling product that you can wear on your head, and a lot of them look like hats, so you can wear it around town. It looks like a baseball cap, but it has an ice pack in it, and you can also put that around your neck. And then there's a free consultation from Dr. Shake, some different Rue wellness products, and a free month with vestibular group fit. So check out these as some things you could add to your toolkit as well. Anything else that you guys would like to speak on that you didn't get the chance to speak on today?
Something else I will mention with the Shades for Migraine campaign, if you use the hashtag Shades for Migraine hashtag, then you will be automatically entered into our photo contest. And we have prizes for the top 10 people. And I think it's until it just opened, and I think it's maybe for 1 week after the campaign. So there's plenty of time to post your picture with your glasses on.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Ronnie and Kylie, for joining today. That was a lot of great information. And thank you, everyone, for stopping into our live and learning more about better working, learning, and living with migraine. As you can see, there's a big community here, and there's so many different places to go if you're ever feeling isolated or alone in your disorders. So just reach out whenever you need to any of us or anyone in this community, and you can see that there's a lot of people that are experiencing the same things you are experiencing and talking about them and talking about tools to help. And I have learned so much from this community myself, and so many different tools that I use every day. So I'm really thankful to be a part of it, and so glad that you can all join today. So make sure to enter the giveaway. It's norblighting.com. You can go there and see the giveaway at the very top. You can sign your name and email into the entry box, and then you'll be signed up. And we also have one more conference, the last conference, which is next week, Friday, and it starts at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So hopefully you guys can make it to that. We will have a few new guest speakers and some different topics about migraine we'll be touching on. So thank you so much, everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.